when we consider the Magnificat through a womanist lens, we see it as a solid affirmation of God's solidarity with oppressed communities. In Just a Sister Away by Dr. Renita J. Weems, she reminds us that the experiences of marginalized women in Scripture, such as Mary, provide a model of faith that refuses to yield to despair. Mary, as a young Jewish girl in a colonized land, sings of a world flipped upside down. Through her voice, though, we find that the peace of Advent is not a passive acceptance of suffering, but a call to action, an invitation to join God in the transformative work of economic justice. So how do we move from Mary's ancient words to our modern day crisis of economic injustice and disparity? How does Ujamaa help us respond to families whose incomes fall below the threshold for medical coverage? Well, we have biblical precedent for our response. Perhaps you recall the early church's example in Acts chapter 2. We read there that the believers held all things in common and distributed resources to anyone who had need. This was an intentional act of economic solidarity, a lived practice of Ujamaa within the faith community. The spirit of that passage speaks directly to present-day realities. Mary's Magnificat builds on that theological foundation for this shared economy. God's justice, as proclaimed by Mary, is not an abstract concept. It pushes us to think creatively and concretely about how we can pool our resources, share our skills, and build institutions that care for the vulnerable. Imagine faith communities that set up healthcare access funds to help those who fall through the cracks of our flawed systems.